With the influx of new RVers and campgrounds feeling a little crowded, and the desire to find some kind of cost-effective camping, people are turning to boondocking or dry camping. Today, we're visiting with our friends Michelle and Jody Brown in Sedona, Arizona on BLM land. I asked Michelle's mom, Gloria, what her camping experience was like 50 years ago.
Well, one thing, we didn't have GPS to go by. We had to use the old paper type maps. And so we would just go along, plan out our day, each day, how far we'd travel, where we wanted to stop. And we'd get to the spot, and I'd usually run up the road to make sure it was clear, if there was enough room, because we were traveling the Alaska Highway. So it was very scarce for gas stations or camping spots. And then if it was clear, I'd come back and get in the truck and we'd go down and dry camp.
We'd never even hiked or done anything, and my brother goes to Glacier every year since 1996, and he finally got us to go up there in 2009. We fell in love with outdoors and the wild and that, and then we continued to go up there a lot. We've been to Glacier 8 times since then. Came across people living in their RVs full time, and me and Michelle started watching some and learning stuff and decided, hey, you know, we're not that far away from retirement. We got to do what a lot of people don't. We lived in this while we were still working so that we could learn a lot more, and then we'd take it on, like out to Colorado for a couple weeks vacation each year until we retired full time and started January of 2020.
We ended up purchasing the Heartland Gateway 3810 RLB. And the thing that was important to me, we looked for several years. We went to RV shows, we went to different states, we went to dealers, we looked extensively, researched, and we definitely wanted a bunk room. With us having 3 kids, and then with my mom, we always joked that it was her bedroom. But we wanted people to be able to come and enjoy our journey with us. So it was very important that we had a bunk room and a half bath so that they felt comfortable and they had their own area. And then another thing that was important to me was the kitchen. I wanted a separate kitchen where I wasn't looking at the TV through an island. And that was just a preference for me. So this one checked off those boxes.
Well, I wanted a residential fridge. That was important, and we had good seating in there, and just obviously we had to figure out the truck size for pulling the weight of it, and well, you always had to look at that. We wanted a lot of storage because it was our home. So, and at the time when we first started, it's like you don't know what you need to take with you and what you need to put in storage back home. So,
and a washer and dryer was very important to me, because I did not, and I know people do it, but I just did not want to have to go to a laundromat all the time. I wanted to be able to throw a load of wash in and a load of, and dry it, because this is my home and I wanted to have the conveniences of home.
I asked Jody to explain the solar system they developed to provide enough wattage to live a comfortable life in their home off-grid. There's lots of detail here, and you can see the full version on our website, rvingtoday.tv.
On the roof, we have 4 390-watt panels, and that's 1,560 total watts, 600 amp-hour batteries. And I actually last year found an extremely cheap way to run air conditioning. Well, most of your air conditioners on your RVs are 15,000 BTU or 13.5 BTU, which take about 3,500 watts to start. But once they're running, it's only 1,500 watts. I got a 3,000 watt inverter, which wouldn't be able to start it. And most people do. There's very few people with 4,000 watt inverters. So he told me to go to a plumbing supply warehouse and get this can called a hard boost, which is a booster capacitor. And it was only $10. And you just hook it to your capacitor and it brings your wattage down to about 2,200 watts to start. When we were traveling back from Glacier, Montana, across Nebraska in August, we have cats in the back, and it was getting too hot in there, so we would just drive with our one air conditioner on. You can only run one air conditioner at a time. They're set up to go throughout your whole vehicle. As long as you run it midday or afternoon or whatever when you got full sun, it won't even draw on the batteries.
So some of the things I've done, I've just tried to make it feel more like a home. I've been able to hang pictures on the wall, glass frame pictures, and figured out Velcro strips that I can do that with, and they stay up great. I painted the walls. I'm still in the process of doing that. I've just taken it slowly, a little bit at a time. I put wallpaper in my bedroom. We took out a counter that we made it too narrow in there because we only have 3 slides and they're all on the other side. And so we took out a counter and added a butcher block wood table, pushed it against the wall, gave us additional storage. We've cut a hole in the wall that gets to this outside storage unit, and we put our kitty litter out there and our cat food. We took out the jackknife sofa that was in the back that was totally uncomfortable to sleep on. And we built a bed that can pull out and do 2 twin mattresses if we need it to be a king size bed, or if not, it's just pushed in and it's a twin, and we have storage underneath that. So those are some of the changes that we've made to it just to make it, I want it to feel like home.
When Thetford launched AquaChem, it didn't take long before it became the #1 selling holding tank treatment for over 50 years. Until now. Meet Aquamax, Thetford's new generation of holding tank products that works even better and are also campground friendly and environmentally safe. Looks like a new #1 is taking over. For more information, visit Thetford.com. Want more RVing today? Then visit RVingtoday.tv. Besides our weekly show and extended segments, you'll find additional stories and videos along with insightful information on what's new and what's happening around the world in RVing. From luxury RVs to unique camper vans, and from RVing with pets to RVing with kids. You'll find it all and more in RVingtoday.tv.
With a 40-foot rig, let's find out how they find accessible spots to dry camp.
I have 2 boondocking RV groups that I'm a member of, and a lot of people will post areas that they're in, and they'll give coordinates. If I know we're going to be in an area and I see something interesting, I will take a screenshot of it so then I can give it to him, and then he can see if it's something that is accessible for us or the area that we're going to be in, and then he takes it from there.
Yeah, I usually use Campendium, probably 98% of the time. But on Campendium, what I really like is that you get a lot of reviews from people. A lot of them were recent. She wanted to leave here and go up to the Grand Canyon for a few days. Well, I checked, and the camping spots that we wanted to stay, everybody was talking about how muddy it was and how it was inaccessible and stuff. So we're going to have to scrap that and just head mainly for home now. But I really like Campendium, how it really tells a lot about the cell service, which is important for us because we don't want to be out of contact with family in case there's an emergency or something. It tells you dump stations, and a lot of information people will give you on there is where you can get water, where you can dump your trash.
When we are out for 2 weeks, we'll go to a campground for a day or 2, and we always park at the campground, wash out tanks, I start laundry, and then we go to where we're going to be boondocking because we try to get a campground near where we're going to be our next boondocking spot, and we always scout it out with just his truck. We drive the road. Can we turn around? You definitely have to take extra precautions when you're as big as we are, because you can't just turn around at the end of any road. You have to be, have the area to turn around. So we have very seldom just blindly went into a spot.
The United States has a lot of beautiful country if we just stop and look at it. Everybody wants to go somewhere exotic, but to me, the United States is beautiful.
Most BLM land is in the western part of our country. I wondered if Jody agreed.
There really isn't. Honestly, you start getting into Kansas, Nebraska, and everything east of there, it's hard to find boondocking. There just isn't the land that there is out west. Out west, pretty much every state has a lot of public land, BLM land, Bureau of Land Management is what that stands for. BLM land, they have their own website that you can go to, and a national forest and that, to be able to see where you can actually camp, where there's actually some campgrounds, and that was some of our best campgrounds we stayed in, which were sort of half boondocking, half hookups, because some of them really didn't have any hookups at all, and then we come across some that for $5 you could have electric too.
Sometimes our boondocking consists of staying in casino parking lots too.
Yeah.
Like, or when we were in Glacier Park, Montana, it's all reservation land where we stay, so we dry camp in a campground, so we don't pay for hookups. So there are many ways to boondock, not necessarily out. You might be in a parking lot, but that's what we had to do to see the redwoods in California. We stayed at a casino for 3 nights.
And that information is also on Campendium. You can, not only does it do boondocking, it does non-hookups, some hookups, cost. There's farms. There's where'd we stay at? Blue Heron, which is in Tillamook, Oregon. That was really neat to stay at, just out in their field. You can stay for free. All kinds of neat places other than just public land.
We have a 10-and-a-half-year-old Great Dane that travels with us, and we have 2 cats. We always see the vet right before we go out on the road again, get him his checkup. He is on some maintenance medication. We get that at Walgreens. When we leave to go hiking or do whatever we want to do, is it going to get too hot in the fifth wheel? And so we were getting concerned about that. So it's called Temp Stick, and it's through Wi-Fi. So you do have to have internet, but I can check the temperature inside the fifth wheel at any point. So then if it starts to get too high, and it will alert us if it gets too high. So that's one of the things that we've done. We installed better fans to turn on when we leave to suck out any hot air. And then I bought him boots to put on his feet. So especially out in the desert with the cactus and all the rocks. And then for emergencies, we just had one a couple weeks ago. He cut his leg. We called several local vets. They told us about an emergency hospital. And so we went there and they got him taken care of. They are a little bit more expensive, but they were amazing. And, it's just something that you've got to do. You got to make sure that they're okay and well taken care of.
Well, this has been a true pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your lives with me today.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.